All right, here we go. This is um, the second day. So this is the post. Yesterday started Capricorn in the zodiac, and some of you may have seen my post. But this video is going to go over Capricorn, which in the tarot, according to like the Golden Dawn attributions that I tend to use, is tied to the devil. And there we go. So let's see where this goes. There. Probably better to hold it in my right hand. So the devil. Now this card, oh my gosh, so charged. Used to terrify people in Italy. Um, and it's based on frescoes in some of the churches and things. So you can actually see some of the artwork in Italy. And this is the Golden Dawn card. And then this is the traditional Rider-Waite card. And this is the one we're going to look at quite a bit. So this card, which people are like, well, if I'm Capricorn, then I'm the devil. It doesn't, that's not exactly what it's saying. There's an energy here. If you look at the zodiac as a map of natural cycles, then this card, it's right before the new year, which is tied to the star card, which you can look at as new beginnings, new possibilities. It's tied to Aquarius, which is pouring water out and going from pure potential into duality and the world of form. So this is new beginnings. This is coming up in a month or so. But before we get here, got to work with this first. Um, in Capricorn, it's the water goat. And it's this idea, it can be tied in with the idea of climbing like a mountain goat, but there's some subtler things here. If you look at this card, you'll see the devil with a goat head, kind of tied to Capricorn, sitting on a stone or what looks like half a cube or half a square. And in symbolism, the cube is a perfect solid. So this cube represents perfect knowledge or wisdom. So if something's sitting on half a cube, then it's sitting on half knowledge or half truth, and which is tied to ignorance. So as this card keeps floating in and out of existence, so you'll see that, and then you've got two people that are male and female that are chained to this cube or this half cube. But where it gets interesting is if you look closely, especially in this depiction, you can see that the chains are actually bigger than their heads, the loops around their necks. So this is the idea that we end up in hell or we end up in a place like this mentally. Once again, these are not like physical locations necessarily, but mappings of our psyche, our soul, like the internal landscape. So if we're in a place that feels like this emotionally or feels like this in general, a lot of times what this is indicating, it's that we're chaining ourselves to half-truths, ignorance, beliefs, these ideas that we've absorbed. And this isn't like a bad thing. This is more like we never have perfect knowledge, perfect view on anything. But like anything else, our beliefs limit us. And especially if we don't go to test them to see whether these things that may have served us or helped us in the past, are they still are they still valuable for us? There's a story of a person who wants to go see a sage, and he paddles out to this island with a mountain on it. And he takes the canoe, straps it to his back, starts climbing the mountain. The person comes down, and they say, "Oh, you're going to see a sage?" "Yes." "Why do you have the boat?" "Well, I don't know. I might need it there." So, how many times do we carry these things around that have gotten us to where we are? They're useful in that context, but that may no longer work for us. And that's part of this card, the devil. It's also tied in with this other card known as the tower, the blasted tower. So it's this idea of forms that that no longer work for us. And either nature is going to come in. This is supposed to be like the fire of God coming down, fire of the divine, breaking things up, or we can take it apart piece by piece with ourselves. So you have this idea of the tower, which is the card right after this in right after the devil in sequence. But what forms are we holding on to that no longer work for us? So it's really about more of this clearing, letting go, clearing the way for new growth theme that we saw with death. Uh, and this is where it gets interesting. So how do we do this? How do we actually put it into practice? And part of the key is in the card. You have Capricorn. And once again, Capricorn, this is where I was going to go. So Capricorn, traditionally in Western astrology, Western zodiac, is the gate associated with the gate of disincarnation, like before you go to a more open place, like here, right, like the star. So these two are right next to each other. The symbolism gets really interesting, and I do cover this in the next book, or I will be covering this in the next book that I'm working on. So there's the opportunity for potential here, pure potential, but first we have to kind of unsnare ourselves from what we've built up around us or from our beliefs so we can open ourselves up to new visions and wide open spaces. But then how do we do this? Well, if we go across the zodiac, we go to Cancer. So Cancer and Capricorn are right across from each other. And Cancer is associated with incarnation, bringing things into the physical realm. And you see the two horses, and these are feelings and emotions. So it's really working with feelings and emotions, which is similar. We talked about this the other day, the water. So we're in the water again, feelings and emotions, working with the heart, and really sitting with things so that we can understand them, so that we want to see what's really there. And if we look at this card, we'll notice that the pentagram, the five-pointed star, is upside down, and a human being outstretched is like a star. So it's what makes the upside down one have a negative connotation is the human being's actually inverted. And then you see the same with the fire. So if we invert the card, you'll see that this turns into what looks like a bat. And then the bat is a really interesting symbol because it's awake when others are asleep. It can see in the dark, so it can see things that others can't, or see things that you can't see in the light. Because sometimes, if you do art or photography or anything, you'll know that, especially in the fall here in northeastern United States where I'm at right now, the fall colors pop, but the best time a lot of times to take photos, the colors isn't in this hot midday, in the hot sun of the midday when the sun's really powerful because it bleaches everything out, but it's more on a gray day. So same idea. And then with art, we have this idea of if you want your light colors to shine, if you want your lights to be really, really bright, you need to push your darks. So this, by delving into the darkness, by really seeing what's there and inverting, so we're not getting away from it, we're not just looking for the light, we're trying to see what's there. And by doing that, we get a new view. The torch goes up, the chains will slip off, and then we can act like the bat, or we can look to the symbolism of the bat where it can see when others are asleep. So it's awake when others are asleep, so it can see in the dark. So this isn't necessarily going to get you out of the darkness, but it's going to help you see things more clearly. And then once again, once you can see things more clearly, then you have a chance of slipping off those chains. Because what keeps us here, keeps us in that place, is half truth, half knowledge, and not wanting to see things the way they actually are. Because if we can't see things the way they actually are, then we can't work with it. Even if the situation's horrible or what you think is horrible, at least if we're seeing clearly, and I found this out in martial arts, when you're sparring with someone, you want to see things as clearly as possible, even if it's horrible, even if they're a better fighter, because then you have a chance of at least moving. If you have your eye, the worst thing you can do is close your eyes, because then you're going to get hit for sure. You have no idea what's going on. So how many of us, when we're in darker, more challenging times, how many of us like want to close our eyes? It's natural. But if you learn to open your eyes and see in the dark and get adjusted so you can see things the way they are, then there's the bat. And the bat also flies. It has the potential to fly in the dark. And it navigates by sound instead of just sight. So, and sight's tied to fire. So sound is more all-encompassing. So you're getting um, the sound aspect. And I have a friend who she does sound healing, and I think it's not yoga. Hopefully that's the right term. But the idea with sound, right? Bats work through sound. So you have this idea that that sound, what she'll tell you is that sound can work on all the levels, through all the koshas, through all the sheaths, through all the layers of our being, and really get to our center. So this can also be interpreted as a card for active listening and really listening, just like a bat does. It's not relying on sight and visual, which can misdirect us or misguide us. It's really, really, really taking the time to listen. And in order for us to do that, we need to go internal and really look at, have some quiet, just like quiet settling down the waters. Same thing here. In order for us to really hear, take time, hang upside down, change our viewpoint, and really listen. All right, that's for Capricorn and the Devil, which may give you some ideas for navigating this time of year. Definitely be seeing me again soon, but the next big one is in the new year. I'm going to do one on the principle of water, which is similar to the Neo-Confucian idea of yin in the Tai Chi too, or the yin and yang symbol, as most people call it in the West. But until then, hey, great holidays if you celebrate. Otherwise, really take the time to settle in, let the waters cool down, and not just see in the dark, but listen in the dark, right? Listen to what's going on around you. Take care.